Hi everyone, so in this video I'm doing my Inktober sketchbook tour, and Inktober is an event that happens during the whole month of October for artists. It was created by Jake Parker. I'll link his YouTube channel in the description. So basically Inktober is where you do an ink drawing every day for the month of October. And it can be like doodles or like full finished illustrations. It's whatever you're comfortable doing if you want to partake in the challenge. So I actually managed to do one each day. Some of them are a lot worse than others, and I did them all in this little small sketchbook here. So I'm going to be showing you. And the main materials I used was this ink for some ink washes. And this was the Pentel Aqua Wash brush I used. You basically fill this with water and add a few drops of ink. And then it's a nice, almost like watercolor kind of effect. And I used some white gel pens for highlights. And a bunch of different multi-liners like Microns, Copics, this one as well. I used a bunch of different black multi-liners and sometimes colored ones, but for the most part I did black. So basically this is just saying how it's recycled paper. It's just like the little note from the company. I got this sketchbook from a bookstore. I just like the small, I just really liked the size of it, and I really liked how the cover looked, and I finally used it for something. So this is Inktober day 1. I did a ghost holding a pumpkin spice latte. I haven't had any of those before, but I need to try one at some point. It's just like a symbol of fall almost. This is day 2. I used some red ink in the background. The theme for this day was like mushrooms. That was the theme I gave myself. I wasn't actually doing the official prompts or anything. I was just doing my own drawings each day. This was day 3. I wasn't a big fan of this one, mainly because I think his neck is too long and I just don't like the proportions of the face or anything, but I do like how I drew the plants in the background. This was day 4, and the only thing I changed about this day is I'd like flip her so she's flying into the drawing rather than out of the drawing. I just think it's like an awkward crop here. And this day I decided to do some flowers. And I tried to do some cross-hatching on them, but I don't really like the style of the cross-hatching on this. It just makes them look really, really flat. So by this day I hadn't quite figured out what my cross-hatching style is. It's day 5. Day 6 I decided to draw a fox, and I did like another kind of hatching style, and I kind of liked how this turned out, especially the tail, the little lines on the tail. And I just filled in some spots with black. And I did some ink wash on it for like a nice mid-tone gray color. And this is day 7, and I kind of had like her hair kind of turned to a snake and it's kind of wrapping around her, but I don't know how well that reads. I don't really know if you can tell what's going on, but I do like the proportions of her face and her hair. Day 8 was one of those days where I just didn't know what to do, so I drew some pumpkin pie and a pumpkin and like a chair, and I really don't think this worked out well. I do not like this drawing very much. It looks so flat and scribbly and unfinished. I just really don't like it. And I wrote 8 twice for some reason. I think I ended up cropping this off when I posted it to Instagram. All of these drawings are on my Instagram if you want to look in the description. The link is there. This is day 9. I really like how I shaded the hair and like how I filled in like the mid-tone with the ink wash. I would move her eye over a little bit. I think I did move it over when I posted it, so I did edit some of these in Photoshop before posting them, just to bring out the blacks and the whites. And I also made some minor changes to some really some like glaring mistakes. I changed them before I posted them, so all the mistakes are here because these are all the originals. So day 10 I drew an owl. And I really like how all the textures came out in his face and everything. And I made the little 0 and the 10 into a moon. But I know moons would be white if it's a full moon, so I don't know why I made it gray. Day 11 is probably one of my favorite days. I just really like the whole style of this. I actually converted this to a digital like design in my Redbubble shop, and the link will be in the description if you want to see it, but it basically looks just like this. But I really do like how this turned out. It's like a little ghost thing holding a scythe around a full moon. So day 12 is kind of another little dark style. She's kind of has like a severed head, but it still floats there. That's kind of the concept behind this one. And I do like how her hair turned out and everything. And I like how you can see little highlights in her hair, but it's pretty much all black for the most part. So day 13, I didn't write 13 on this. It's like a bear and I like all the little black shading I did on it. And I really like the balance between white, black, and gray in this one. And I like the whole composition with the leaves flowing around him. I think it's pretty cool. I might make this into an actual painting, like digitally, maybe. I just like the concept of this. Now, day 14 was one of those days where I didn't know what to do, and I really didn't feel like drawing anything. And so I just drew 2 balloons in like a nice simplistic style with like jack-o'-lantern faces on them. I like how the font came out here. And I do like the overall look of this, but it's really, really simple, and it's not a very good example for my Inktober stuff. On day 15, I used sepia multi-liners. I think this was the only time I used, or maybe there might have been 2 times where I used sepia ones. But I drew a gourd that we had here, I drew it from life. It doesn't really look like the gourd, but I did post this on Instagram. You can see the gourd beside it. Just wanted to try that. I wanted to try some more shading techniques. Now this is day 16. I made the hair nice and black and then white. There's no gray in the hair, so I wanted to practice doing that simple style of shading. And I like how the face turned out. There's some smudges all over this. So I think I might have cleaned those up before I posted them to Instagram, like cleaned off the smudges in Photoshop. And what day is this? 17. I didn't write it on here. This is supposed to be Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. I just wanted to draw something nice and simple for this day because I really didn't know what to draw. Once again, I used red ink for this, like a red multi-liner. I don't know. Some people think you shouldn't use color for Inktober, but sometimes I need a splash of color. Day 18, I also did not know what to do, so I just drew this like orchid that's here, and it hasn't had a stem in it's been almost a year, maybe, like a few months away of being a year that this thing hasn't grown a new stem. All the other ones have, they go through regular cycles, but this one, no. There's something wrong with it. It's probably because it's really, really small. Day 19 is probably one of my favorite days. I just really like the whole shape of the hair and the style of the shading, and I like the style of her face as well. I just like day 19. It's one of my favorites. I just like the simplicity of the mouth. Now day 20, I wrote day 21 by mistake and then drew a circle around the 1 because I didn't realize. I drew 21 instead of 20 because it was midnight when I made this, and I looked at the time and it said 21, but then I realized, oh, this is from day 20 because it's midnight. Anyway, I did this with a ballpoint pen. I believe it was this one. It's like Papermate Inkjoy pen. I love these pens. And I just did some nice sketchy doodle thing. Another one for day 21. I really like the style of this. I like the style of her mouth especially. I just like the way the shading turned out. Now day 22, these are kind of inspired by some Studio Ghibli characters like No Face, and these other ones starts with a K. It's from another one of the movies, but they kind of look like them, and I drew a whole bunch of them on this page. I just thought it was a nice spooky drawing for approaching Halloween. Day 23, I wanted to work on drawing guys more because I draw a lot of female characters rather than male characters, so I'm trying to draw male characters more because I really want to develop my style. Day 24 is this cute cartoony little girl, and I really like the way her hair turned out. It's all voluminous, and I like the simple shading and kind of sketchy feel this has and the overall movement of her pose. It kind of looks like she's wearing popcorn around her neck. I think it was supposed to be flowers, but it does look like popcorn. Day 25 is probably my least favorite day. I do not like this at all. It's just so sketchy. You can just tell that I rushed this. I don't like that. Day 26 is actually a video on YouTube. I recorded this. It's just another little cartoony style that I want to do, and I left the pencil lines because I like the way that looked. This is day 27. Working on my guy style more. I just don't like the way the cat turned out, but everything else about this I'm pretty okay with. I didn't write the number. Day 28, I drew someone looking down. I tried to do a little bit of a more interesting looking face, but I don't know, it probably just looks like all the other faces I draw. But I do like the way her hair turned out and everything. I just don't like this shoulder. I wish I could just crop that off like that. I think that would look better. Day 29 is one of my favorite days as well. I just like the whole movement of her hair, especially her bangs here in this swirl. And I just like her pose with her shoulders, how they're kind of one's higher than the other, and I like the simple shading in the wrinkles of her sweater. I like this one. Day 30, I drew a scarecrow, and I don't really like, her face looks really lopsided to me. I did edit it a little bit before I posted it to Instagram to make it look a little bit less lopsided and to make her mouth a little bit smaller, but I do like this concept of like a living scarecrow. I know it's been done before, but I just decided to do that, and I made little pieces of straw sticking out of her hair and the sleeves of her shirt, and I kind of made her shoulders crooked, and I kind of made her pose kind of stiff looking because she's a scarecrow, and scarecrows are not real, but she is real, I guess, in a way. I do like her hat. It kind of looks like a witch's hat, but scarecrows wear hats like this too. So I like this. I might develop this idea further. And this is the final day. I did this today a few hours ago. It's basically supposed to be me with my hands out, kind of like, look at all my drawings, like all my Inktober drawings are kind of floating around me. Little pieces of paper. I don't really like how the hands turned out. I tried to do minimal detail on them, but they just end up looking not very good, not detailed enough. But I wrote a little 31, and this is the final day of Inktober, and I definitely had a lot of fun, and I love working with ink. Like, these materials are just so great. And I just found out a way you can refill these microns, because all of my microns are running out. You just take pliers, and you pull out the end like this, and then you drop a few drops of like India ink or whatever ink you want to use into there's like a sponge inside of here, and then you just push it back in and it's good to go. So I just marked the ones I refilled with tape. I found this video on YouTube of how to refill them. There's a few of them. I watched a couple, and then I tried to do it myself, and it worked like a charm. So that is a really, really awesome thing I discovered. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of my Inktober drawings and my sketchbook tour. I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of the paper in here. There's a good amount left. Maybe like about 10 to 15 pages are left. I'm not sure how many pages were in here total. I did rip out a few because some of them didn't turn out at first. But thank you for watching this sketchbook tour, and I'll see you next time.